I'm back from a few days at Blizzard, and I'm here to answer some more questions that have built up on the OverwatchUniversity subreddit. Cue the intro. All right, from the top, we have a big question here. Anyone else think Moira is outrageously good right now? She gets so much value. The amount of raw damage and healing she can do is insane. And unlike every other support, her TTK, which is time to kill, got faster this patch. The ability to survive is insane, useful ult in all situations, and is awesome with Lucio. With the DPS passive plus the constant never-ending Moira damage puts extreme pressure on other DPS and healers. She might be the second best support right now, probably the best spot she's ever been, IMO. Okay, to answer the question where you're asking if Moira is outrageously good, I agree. I think she's very good, just slightly behind Baptiste as one of your main healer options in the higher ranks. A lot of players opt for Baptiste in ranked play, myself included, but if survivability is an issue, switching to Moira is a good substitute because her survivability is a lot higher with the fade ability and the self-heal. You can see it in the recent J3 Community Clash tournament where a lot of high-end players just played. You can watch the VODs. I'm sure he's going to be uploading all of it. A lot of teams did opt for the Baptiste Lucio with a lot of rush, but as soon as the Baptiste got rushed down every time, a lot of players opted to swap to Moira for the ability to fade, heal orb herself, and then suck the enemy off to self-heal. In average rank play, Moira is severely underrated this patch. You made a point where her TTK got faster. That is true. Relative to everyone's HP scaling, Moira's damage did get scaled, in which it does 75 DPS for a suck now instead of 60 DPS, which is arguably higher, or actually mathematically higher than what it was on a 200 HP target. So 60 DPS on a 200 HP target versus 75 DPS now on a 250 HP target. It's actually better in that capacity. She's got reliable self-healing and has a very, very good tempo based support. Now, if you're a high ranked player and you're very good at Baptiste and very good aim, I'm sure you can also apply more pressure in the DPS category. Moira does have a lot of empty stats. You can argue that if you see a Moira and Bap in the same game and the Moira has more damage, is it more meaningful than Baptiste's damage? I would argue not, because Baptiste has the ability to instantly burst someone. Moira's damage is a little bit more predictable, and she's great at finishing people off who are already low, but a straight 250 to 0, Baptiste takes the cake on that, because if you have great aim and you're dinking everybody, especially on the hit scan patch, which is the projectile size patch, which is this one in season 9, like if you put a window down and shoot someone, I mean, you can single-handedly destroy individuals very easily. Bap is still a great team player with great lamp usage, so I would say in the high end you opt for Baptiste first, but if you're having trouble surviving, Moira is a great substitute. Great substitute. Next, why is Lucio Zen being run so much this season? I know they both got buffed, but historically, Lucio Zen is nothing more than a meme comp that has your team screaming about no healing. However, in Season 9, based on my own experience in-game, I'm High Masters low GM player, and seeing these top GM streamers, I've seen them run Lucio Zen to pretty good effect. Why is this? That is a great question. My OWCS team ran Lucio Zen with D.Va 2 weeks ago in our tournament. I had Emong on D.Va. He doesn't really play much ball, but it does work better with ball. We ran it with D.Va. I was the Zen. I had Custa on Lucio, and we had Apply and J3 on the Sombra Tracer. And the reason why you run Lucio Zen is because you are just isolated in the backline in this comp. That's it. Lucio is your peeler this season. So previously, Brig Zen was a comp that was very common with ball compositions because the Brig would babysit the Zen. And the idea is, as your Zenyatta, you Discord orb somebody and you let your DPSs, Tracer, Sombra, and your ball just blow somebody up. No reliance on any sort of healing when you're Brig Zen in the backline. But since everybody's HP went up and Zen was at 275 HP recently until the recent patch where they nerfed it down to 250, 275 or 250 HP is a lot more to go through, so you don't really need the Brig as much. Number 2, the Snap Kick is a great solo defensive tool. And C, Lucio as a peeler instead of Brig doesn't do the job as well, but Lucio's boop got buffed where they're locked out for like a lot longer, so it's almost like a mini stun in that capacity. Lucio can amp it up and speed him to get him away, so it's just like a different iteration of the Brig Zen. So Lucio does a weaker job that Brig can do if you're getting like 3-man dove. And honestly, in Brig Zen comps, if the enemy is coordinated, even if you played Brig Zen, you'd probably still die anyways in a lot of cases. So like, At least with Lucio this time, Lucio is very, very good this patch, where you at least have the option to flip the switch on Lucio. You know what I mean? Like, you can peel for Zen, but if no one's diving you with Zen, or me as Zen in this case, then you don't have to stay with me anymore. You can literally just zip in, because great Lucios in the high end can just wall ride and make it to the front line in like 2 seconds or under. Right? But if you're running Brig Zen like previous iterations, like the Brig is basically attached to the hip with me, and if she wants to go up and help clean and swing at people, it's going to take her a while. She's got to bash forward, you know, huff it all the way there, and then what's she going to do? Throw some packs, which she could already do if she was playing with me. So Lucio has more agency in terms of flipping play styles as needed, and that's why Lucio Zen became a very dominant comp for a little bit. Now, I haven't played this new hotfix patch where they nerf Zen's HP a little bit, so I don't think people are going to run as much Lucio Zen anymore, but it's probably still quite serviceable if you're coordinated. And now you can make the argument where, well, Lucio Zen doesn't have that much heals. You don't need it. You just basically 3-2-1 discord someone, Tracer, Sombra, plus Ball or Diva, just blow somebody up. And then you go for health packs. Your Sombra can control mega health packs. Your Tracer can go for them. They have the self-healing passive. If they can't make it to a health pack now, that also matters a lot more. And you just blow them up. The Diva can fly to it. The reason why we ran it with Diva again is because Emong doesn't play ball that much, but obviously if you're a ball player, it works best with it. But Diva is still serviceable, especially if you have your ultimate. You have a free remech, which gives you another 725 HP. Fly to 1 health pack, not the end of the world. And that's why Lucio Zen is pretty good. Who needs healing when you just kill them? Next question, is Ana bad now after the recent changes? This is a genuine question. I mostly play DPS and only recently started picking up support roles. I noticed that Ana now needs 4 shots instead of 3 to get a kill. And 3 hits only gets your opponent down to 40 HP, and they're very likely to survive. This change feels quite significant, and the entire gameplay of her just feels different from the last I tried her. Is Ana still worth picking up as a new support player? This is a great question for me. I have, 1,500, 2,000 hours on Ana. People did know me as an Ana main back in Overwatch 1, maybe less so in Overwatch 2, but I would say Ana is very middle of the pack right now, if not on the lower end. So she's like not bad per se, but not great. No longer the dominant support that she used to be. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, you listed it. 4 shots to kill instead of 3, or it used to be 2 shots plus a nade, right? Or 3 raw shots. That's gone. So your kill potential went down. Number 2, the DPS passive is very, very good with that 20% healing reduction. And if you, and Tracer is very good this patch. And if a Tracer is flanking, and so is Genji for that matter, and Sombra. So if Dive comes after you, you're pretty much cooked. And in a straight 1v1 against a flanker, a solo Tracer can probably roll you now because her shots are big. She has 175 HP, so the potential 2 shots or a sleep into a shot nade can no longer kill Tracer. So that's a couple of your weaknesses. Weak matchups got even weaker. And if Tracer shoots you and you decide to self-nade yourself, the self-nade healing used to be 100 HP, and then when Ana was OP a few seasons ago, they nerfed it to 60 HP self-healing. But now that Ana is 250 HP, the nade is only healing 60 HP on a self-nade. Plus, if you get shot by the Tracer in that duel and you're trying to heal yourself, you're healing 48 HP. So in a 250 HP duel, you heal 48 HP on yourself. That's it. That is like less than 20% of your total HP pool. Compared to old Ana, when she used to be 200 HP with 100 HP heal, that's 50%. It is a big difference in your dueling potential. So her survivability went down the drain in that capacity. She can't kill anybody. She's basically stuck heal botting. Of course, you can still apply pressure with your DPS shots, but it's very hard to confirm kills. So it feels like other supports do her job, but a little bit better. If you're really focused on heal botting, there are better options. If you're trying to apply DPS pressure, just play Baptiste, because you can do that and heal at the same time. So yeah, I don't like Ana this patch at all, which is why I barely played her. How is Genji neutralized in higher ranks? I'm a mid-plat DPS, and I've been 5-stacking with friends that are mostly gold. We got stomped one game by a Genji, and it felt like we couldn't do anything to stop him. So how do you stop a good Genji? I played against some bad Genjis before, and it usually wasn't a problem, but there's occasionally an absolute demon in the lobby. Great question. How do you stop a Genji? You have to have, number one, anticipation, peel, and poke. Okay? Anticipation is like where you kind of know where he is and you expect that he'll probably dash in or look for an opportunity. Genji is an opportunist before he goes in, right? Because if he goes in and you're all full health and he blows his dash and his deflect without a confirmed kill, or he doesn't wait for like somebody else on his Winston to dive us, then you can cook him very easily. So a good Genji is scouting and poking until the opportunity arises, and it's your job to be very aware, right? Have that awareness and anticipate that to come. And if you are anticipating him to come, you have to save some tools to deal with him, aka the peeling portion. If I'm a KarQ and I know he's targeting someone, I'll save Suzu. If I'm Ana, I'll save a nade or a sleep dart. If I'm a Moira, I can probably save an orb and or a fade. A couple of options. You need to have something to do, because if he's going to go in and commit his dash and deflect, and you're going to hopefully beat him without using any of your abilities, it's not really a fair trade. It's obviously very favorable for him, unless you have other teammates helping you. So that's why everybody needs to be primed and ready for him. And the third option is to poke him out while he's staging, I think is what some people call it. Before Genji can, look for that opportunity to get into you, if you poke him down like 50 or 60 HP, sometimes it'll make him hesitate and he won't take that opportunity anymore until he waits for someone on his team to heal him, or he may actually have to go for a health pack, which kills his pressure and the time and the opportunities. It'll force him to miss opportunities and give you a lot more breathing room as a team. So those are the three ways that a lot of players help deal with Genji in higher ranks. But of course, even you said there will be some demons in the lobby. You will inevitably run into some demons who are just very good at managing everything. But I feel like the most complaints that Genji players have when they die is when they decide to go 1v5 or like 1v3, something unfavorable for them. So you have to make it very unfavorable for Genji to come into you. That makes sense. Do you think the game became harder, not easier, after the hitbox changes? This is similar to the big question last week that we answered, but I'll let them cook. I often see people say things like, oh, these new hitboxes are a joke. The game is a casual fest now. But from my experience, the game actually became harder. The requires less aim, but I think you're trying to say this requires less aim, but better movement and positioning and overall game sense. Many people who did not adjust yet get easily poked out. As a tank player, I saw my teammates try to poke while waiting to group up and get immediately blown up. Overall, dying stupid deaths and mostly positioning based. Do you think this way too? Basically the same as my answer to last week's question, which was posed very similarly. I think the game got easier in some ways, but harder in many others. So I said it got easier in the aiming capacity for some heroes. Some heroes were clear winners and some didn't benefit as much from the patch. But some big winners were obviously heroes like Soldier, Widowmaker. So it became easier in that one portion of your skill, your aim to the enemy. But Overwatch is a very broad game with many variables that can help depict the outcome of the game, whether you win or lose. And raw mechanical offensive aim is like one out of the 20 possible variables that you can learn and improve on in the game. You mentioned things like your own movement, right? Learning how to strafe and be unpredictable is a skill. Your positioning against people that are, going to be able to hit you easier. Your game sense, that's a very broad spectrum as well. Taking natural cover, management of your cooldowns and abilities to help mitigate some of these. So while that part went up, that part of skill expression went down for raw aim, other parts of skill expression went up. So it depends how you want to define what became easier and harder, but overall, it's still going to depend on the person and the hero you play. But I would say the game certainly did not become easier, and it did become harder in a lot of ways, like you mentioned. This is a question, it's not really a question, this is a question or discussion. MMR on a many hours account versus a new account. Quick question or mini rant about MMR. I have a main account with around 3,000 hours on it that sits between silver 3 and gold 3, and no matter how good or bad I play, I will never go above or below these levels. However, I can make a new account and climb easily to diamond 3 to 5 and stay there with no fuss. Even with the soft reset of the ranks from season 9, the old account, which I've had since season 3 of Overwatch 1, just never climbs or falls dramatically. I know, blah blah blah, eel hell doesn't exist, blah blah, get good scrub, but as I said, I can climb from gold 1 to diamond 3 on a new account, so is my old account cursed? There's no such thing as like a account curse. It's also a mentality thing, I would say, right? A lot of the stakes are off when it's not your main account, and a lot of people end up playing a lot more relaxed and probably arguably a little bit better, because when you're always like worried about your rank when you're silver 3 to gold 3 and you're like, oh my god, you already have that mentality that my account is cursed, you're probably playing in a playstyle that is like not good enough to carry. But when the stakes are off and you're on a new account and you're chilling in diamond, it's very easy to play just enough to maintain a 50% win rate and kind of like hover around there. It seems like you're kind of playing around 50% in the other rank and 50% here. It honestly is also another indicator of a very passive playstyle where you're just doing enough, but you're not hard carrying. You got to Diamond 3, but, you know, you're probably just playing like 48 to 52% win rate. A lot of people, I would always argue that if you're around gold, you can easily make it a diamond. It's just like a mindset shift on your playstyle and the passiveness and missing certain opportunities. So it also depends on the role you play and the sample size. You say it's a new account, you have 3,000 hours on one. When you say it's a new account, there's a lot more volatility in your rank, right? The placements, the matchmaker is unsure of what your actual skill is. So there's a wide range of climbing and falling. So if you happen to be on a little bit of a good run on a newer account with less stats or information on your rank, you will see a bigger jump, and then people will be like, oh, see, I told you so. My other account was cursed and I'm in elo hell. But if you can put 1,500 hours, well, you said 3,000 hours on your main. If you can put over 1,000 hours on this and still stay Diamond 3 in this current iteration of the game, then I'll eat my words. But I really do think it's just mostly all in here. All in here. So I would say on your main account, that's silver 3, gold 3, have that confidence, be like, yeah, my alt account is diamond 3, I'm a diamond player, and relax a little, do things that you would do in the other lobbies in some ways, and be less passive. That's my advice. I die every time I use Ram alt. I always make sure to cancel Nemesis form first for the extra armor. Okay, first of all, I'm going to stop you there. That got patched out a while ago. They did fix that as a quality of life. You don't need to do that anymore. Second of all, you say I always put shield down first and I always target the squishies, but 9 times out of 10 I just get focused down and die instantly. How am I supposed to use this thing? Ram is my favorite tank, but his ult always has felt like it causes you to either get a team wipe or get insta deleted, no in between. I would say you're probably not utilizing the block enough, or B, you're just chasing the squishies with too much distance in between. If there's too much of a gap and you're starting to run in a straight line towards the squishies, yes, you can absolutely get melted very, very quickly, because your hip, I mean, look at your hitbox, look at the size of you, right? You've all these extra the arms and everything, you're huge, and you're not Orisa where you can just like remove all headshots by pressing fortify. So yes, you can get absolutely deleted if you're running in a straight line. So it feels like your usage of the ultimate, and you're not utilizing the block if there's too much distance between the targets. Remember everyone's going to run, so you should also try to pop it in an area where it's a bit more enclosed, where they can't go anywhere, so you don't have to, you know, chase them as far. And then if you see streamers or whatever and they're like running a lot of distance and they're killing people and they're not dying, that's probably because like they've already won the fight and it's just cleanup at that point. You have to be a lot more cognizant of who's alive. If you're popping it in a straight 5v5, depending on the tempo and what other support ultimates are being used, you have to read more than just what's in front of you, right? That's probably the best I can do. Without seeing a VOD, that's probably the 2 indicators that I would assume are the issue of why you're dying so quickly. Okay, why do teams push the cart faster after a 3-3 tie? So on Escort Hybrid, each team pushes the cart to the final point. We both get to overtime, but make it to the end. We each now have 1 minute to claim or push the cart. Why does the final round always seem to go faster and smoother? We push cart all the way to the end and sometimes in a way faster manner. Is it because enemy combatants are making more mistakes because there's only 60 seconds left and are playing desperate? It doesn't happen every time, but I'm finding it happening more times than not. Just wondering what your thoughts are. Please like this post. I'm trying to get on KarQ's video. Hi, KarQ. Hey, what's up? You made it. What's up? Honestly, I feel like it used to happen a lot more, but it doesn't happen as frequently. But I can only assume that it's probably that sense of urgency and little mistakes. I actually think you nailed it correctly. You said it probably happens because people are playing desperate. That's it. People, like, some people just have the it factor, some people are just clutch, and some people aren't. And a lot of people crumble or fumble when there's a lot less time here, and then they don't manage their ultimates correctly, and the respawn times are less, and a lot more people will start playing together, especially in overtime on a payload, because they know there's that one central objective instead of going off and doing their own thing. Now that can be a good strategy on the right hero, but you know, in a lot of times on solo queue, when the game is not 3-3, everyone's doing their own thing, they're staggering forever. But in overtime, it seems to bring everybody together. The fight is going to take place here in this spot, and all of a sudden things click. That's probably the best explanation I can give it. You did say it doesn't happen every time, and you say it happens more times than not. I disagree with that. It's just because your memory, it's like a sort of a, is it confirmation bias? I'm not sure what the term is, but it's a lot more memorable when you go 3-3 and then all of a sudden you full cap 6-3. But I guarantee you, if you add up all your overtime games, there's no way that it happens more times than not. I refuse to believe that's true, and if it is, I'll eat this tissue on my desk. I will. GM players who had a time where they plateaued in their rank, what helped you get over the hump? So I started playing Overwatch 2 when it first launched, and over that time I played it for about 500 hours. 350 is comp. Since Season 3, I've kind of plateaued in my rank. Even with the new ranking system, it hasn't changed, but I have no idea of what I'm doing, as I know 100% that I've improved in Season 3, but my rank doesn't reflect that. I know I am the common denominator, but I have no idea what my biggest mistakes are. So for any of y'all managed to get over this hump, what helped you achieve that? Number one, if you are maintaining your rank over many seasons, you are improving. It's just the average player base is always slowly improving. A silver player in 2024 is completely different than a silver player in 2016. A 2024 silver player probably watches videos and knows how to super jump and do some random tips and tricks in tech and know a lot more Overwatch basics than the time. So it's relative to the time. So you are improving, you're just not improving faster than the average population. But that doesn't mean you're not getting better. There are things you're refining, and as you refine certain things, maybe other parts of your skill get less resource or attention in your head and you're forgetting some of the basics. The only thing that helped me get over the hump, I would say, I think I plateaued when the game first came out in Season 3, 2016, where I was Masters and I was barely hovering in and out of Grandmaster and I really wanted to hit top 500. I think the best thing is holding yourself accountable. Always focus on yourself, right? Not in a selfish way, but like less finger pointing and more about what you could capitalize on. And there's always, when people review their own gameplay, they always look at what they did wrong, which is okay, but they don't look at missed opportunities. So even though in this scenario, maybe you did something wrong here, that's easy to catch. But when it looks like there's a lot of nothing happening, you probably missed like 10 opportunities to take an advantageous position or advantageous pressure or something to like pressure the enemy to make him misposition and force some errors. And that's a little harder to detect without some sort of external help, because how can you know it's a missed opportunity if you never saw the opportunity to begin with? And that's something, if you want to, you know, hire a coach or whatever, that's one way that you can do it. The other one, if you want to do it yourself, is literally in a neutral where it looks like a lot of nothing is happening and you're waiting for someone to make a play. What could you have done right there to be proactive and not passive? That's a playmaking opportunity. Doesn't have to be anything too fancy that like would open up like a, you know, a 5-man kill or whatever, but something where you could have taken just an alternate angle here and then try to play out an outcome of what would have happened. If I'm on Hollywood and, you know, you're playing KarQ and you went main beside the car and you're trying to attack it and you're poking there, okay, like you wouldn't have really picked that up because it wasn't a mistake. But what if you went to the side door in security and then watch the replay there? Would that have created an angle or made some people on the enemy team turn to the left of you, and that would have opened something up for your teammates to do something because they weren't paying attention main? Or maybe instead of there, you went wall climbed up that little like top of Hollywood, that little building, and shot from there. Would that have been good in that situation? Or was it feasible for you to make it all the way to the back flank, right? So look for missed opportunities, and that will probably help you get over the hump. Focus on yourself and manage your expectations, and just know you're not going to win 100% of your games. Honestly, most people are going to be around 50% win rate. And remember, if you're at a 51% win rate, over the grand scheme of things, you will climb if you can maintain that. Like, just scale it up. 51%, 5,100 wins, 5,000 losses. Or is that how the math works out? Yeah, something like that. 5,100 wins, 5,000 losses. That's a net positive 100 games. That's a climb. It's going to take a while, but you know, as long as you're above 50%, you'll be good. Okay, and the last question is a ginormous essay. Let me see this. At what point does support truly control their rank? I started Overwatch and, okay, 2016 start. Masters lobby, Masters player, even with transition, cool. Season 9 comes out. I'm coming off a 3-day, 10-game losing streak. I'm trying to be a good sport, but I strongly believe it's not my fault. I'm having a hard time understanding the direction the game is moving in. I won 8 out of 10 placements, and I placed in Plat 1. Tonight, I fell to Plat 5. I see teammates trickling in, blah, 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 blah. So my question is, what gives? Is it actually something where I'm not playing good enough, or is this truly a damage meta and everyone's left to whatever the 2 damage players can offer? Almost a decade of playing this game in one iteration or another. I don't know what I can do anymore. Okay, first of all, everybody's rank kind of got squished down. So if you're ranked a lot lower than what you're used to, the skill level is relative to the player base and the reset. So being a plat player right now is not the same as being a plat before this patch. Okay. Right now, a lot of the top players, not all, but a lot of top players minus placements are around low Grandmaster and Masters 1 and 2. Like me, I'm in Masters 1. I saw J3 in Masters 2 or 3, Flats, Masters 1 right now. ML7 was like GM3, GM4. He just fell back to GM5. It is not the same because all the players that were really good got squished down. So the lobbies are very volatile, especially in this early reset. But they did say this reset will only happen once a year. So as the year progresses, 2024, like this year in August, whatever season that is, season 12, 13, it will not be as crazy because there wouldn't have been a reset from the previous seasons, and the games will be easier. It's kind of like Apex. You get a new season, you play in silver, and there's all of a sudden all these like masters and like predator players in your lobby. Everyone got squished down. So I wouldn't worry so much about the actual rank. Just focus on your own personal improvement right now. And number 2, expectation management, similar to the one earlier. If you have that mindset and you have your expectations managed, like I've managed my expectations. I'm like, I'm gonna sit in this Masters GM5, even though I've been a top 500 GM1 player for whatever, a long time. My expectations are, I know I'm not an Overwatch League pro or a Contenders pro. So some people are posting screenshots of hitting Champion 5. They're very good at the game, much better than me. If I can hit Champion one day, I'll be very happy. But if I can hover around the low GMs right now, I'm pretty confident in myself, and I don't get too stressed out about the number. I wipe that out of my mindset, so that won't affect my gameplay. And now you see that, you know, you fall into plat 5 and you're trying to like poke and be like, you're kind of poking and prodding and seeing like, oh, my teammates are doing all these poor choices. Yes, you're gonna have volatile teammates, but at the end of the day, you really do as a support have to find different opportunities on this patch. Some heroes that you may have like played, like Ana or Kiriko, which are 2 heroes that I play a lot, are not as good in terms of their individual kill potential. If that was one big part of your playstyle and you haven't adapted to that, that may be one I'm just pointing out right now. Lucio players seem to be doing pretty well. Zen players are doing well this patch. Bat players are doing just fine. Yes, certain heroes will struggle a little bit more. Moira players are doing well. So I would say if the individual pressure isn't there on those heroes, if you happen to main Ana and Kiriko, finding an alternate hero or finding other ways to affect the game will probably take a little bit of an adaptation period, but I'm confident you can get out of it. And don't sweat too much on a 10-game losing streak. That is still a pretty small sample size. Keep your head up, and that will go a long way in my opinion. So yeah, that's all I can tell you. That's it for the Reddit questions this week. See you next week. Bye-bye.